What's up, everyone? Happy Wednesday. I'm glad I got that right. I've been getting my days wrong all week. I want to welcome you to this edition of the Mortgage X Podcast Live, the Mortgage Mastermind Live. And, this one is going to be a very special episode because it's a topic that I get a lot of questions on, and it's just been something that's, been especially happening within the market the last few months with everything going on. So this was very exciting to be able to get today's guest. Before we start, just want to say that for those of you that are interested in the Mortgage X Mastermind that are watching this via LinkedIn or YouTube or catching this on the podcast replay, you can check out the mastermind at facebook.com/groups/MortgageX. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce my guest for today's episode, and that is Tom Hutchins. He's the EVP of Production at Angel Oak Mortgage Solutions. Tom, go ahead and introduce yourself to the Mortgage X audience, my friend.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me, Jason. Looking forward to our discussion.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And before we get into the meat of it, for people that may not, haven't heard of Angel Oak or haven't heard of you, could you give us just a brief background on yourself and Angel Oak?
Yeah, sure. Well, me specifically, I've been in the mortgage business over 20 years, primarily wholesale correspondent lending, and also primarily kind of outside of the agency box. And that's really what Angel Oak is. We started about 7 years ago now. Everybody kind of remembers the crisis, the financial crisis, and what happened with that. And anything outside of agency and government lending virtually went away. So we saw the opportunity, saw the dislocation in the market, and felt like the need was there and the timing was right. So we've been at this since 2013, and we've seen the ups and a lot of ups, and then we've seen COVID-19.
Yeah. Which is the big downer, right? Like the big got the ups with a
we'll just call it an adjustment.
Yeah, slight bump, slight hiccup. Didn't do too much. And so on that topic, the pandemic hit, and honestly, and working for a mortgage lender, everyone was riding high. 2019 is like, oh yeah, 2020 is going to be, the greatest year and all this other stuff. And look, we still got a lot of time left to make that happen. But what I wanted to do today with you, Tom, obviously you're an expert in the non-QM space. And that again was a niche for a lot of people.
Right.
And just was doing a tremendous amount, plus serving what I think is a huge segment of the market that isn't going to be served by the traditional qualified mortgage box, right? And so definitely a need for that. And so I want to take a little journey today, kind of the past, present, and future of non-QM. Now you touched on it a little bit with talking about how you guys started, but maybe take it back to non-QM in 2019, the strengths, and then let's get right into the present, and then where you see the future of it going.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as I mentioned, we started 7 years ago, 2013. We worked really hard for a number of years of really, our mission was just to make people aware that non-QM existed, and then educate originators of what non-QM was. And we in the industry we were having a lot of success. 2019 was a doubling of 2018 volume. Really we were projecting for 2020 that to double again. And when I say double, 2019 volume was probably in the $30 to $50 billion range, which was again twice as much as what 2018 was. And we expected that growth to continue in 2020. Really educating and awareness is all we've done. We believed after the financial crisis, as I mentioned, that there was just a dislocation. There were no opportunities for anyone that fell outside of that tight agency or government box. And we knew after the crisis, the borrowers didn't go away, just the loan programs themselves went away. So Angel Oak is kind of a multifaceted company. We have asset management and a capital side, and then the origination side, which is what I head up. So what we do is we originate these non-agency loans, and then they, through an affiliate, Angel Oak Capital, they take those loans, they package them up, securitize them into bonds, and that's how the flow of the space was headed. And so we were all in as an organization to this non-QM space. We saw 2019 again, great year. 2020 was off to a great start.
Yep.
And then we all know what's happened in the last couple months.
Yeah, and so from those of us on on the outside, seeing things happen and not obviously where I sit, I don't deal that's non-QM isn't something that I personally deal with or know or any type of expert in.
Right.
But just seeing it seemed like most of the bigger or all of the big non-QM players just within a matter of like 2 weeks just disappeared, from the marketplace as far as being a viable solution for a lot of people. And I saw a ton of posts in Facebook groups saying, hey, looking for this non-QM, and because a lot of people had built, a good niche business off of it.
Right.
So what should people know about the present or what happened with non-QM? What happened with the market and what happened with it? Just kind of, going on hiatus for a little bit.
Sure. It's a great question. That's the question that we get, every single day. And really, what happened, a couple of things that I think is really important for people to take away. One is that this isn't like 2008, 2009.
Yep.
This was not a financial crisis. This was not a credit crisis. This was not caused by non-QM being bad loans.
Yep.
This was entirely completely caused by a virus, that a pandemic that was taking over the world and then the United States. And so what happened, you said it happened over a 2-week period. It really happened overnight.
Yeah.
As soon as states started shutting businesses down, that's when non-QM froze. And it froze because of a couple reasons. One is, I keep saying we're a non-agency, non-government loan. So our loans are not guaranteed. The performance of them is not guaranteed by the government. So it's private capital. So it is really on us to make a credit evaluation and to document a borrower's ability to repay. So think back to early March, mid-March, when let's just say the state of California said, hey, we're going on lockdown. Every business, you're not essential, shut down, don't leave your house. Well, if we're doing a loan in California, we could not make a responsible credit decision, nor could we determine a borrower's ability to repay because, for everybody, no matter what their income was in February, that no longer applied in mid-March. Yep. So that's really why it shut down, and it shut down so quickly because these are not government-backed loans, as opposed to Fannie and Freddie and FHA.
Yeah, and I think, I think that's important to note for everyone that's listening is to really understand how that works. And because when everything started to, when the what started to hit the fan, like everyone was just kind of, like, oh, well, why is this? And not only that, but there were so many people that just didn't truly understand. And let's just take non-QM out of the equation for a second. You had people that qualified when right up until almost closing, and then when they go and look at the income and run credit, make sure everything's, and do the verification of employment and everything, and they did not qualify, right? So it wasn't just a non-QM thing. This was an entire just industry based off of the lockdown that you had mentioned. But not only that, but let's just understand. I think everyone that was paying any type of attention the last few months as states started to do this, it wasn't like we had some very nice, streamlined, cohesive way of shutting stuff down. Just like with, you mentioned non-QM, like overnight, that was like the states. And there was no true, look, we're still trying to get through regulations and guidelines and everything else today and months later to have some sort of guidance from the government on how we should be approaching that. And I think another people that, and I'm glad that you brought that up, Tom, is that people don't understand is that non-QM isn't backed by the government. There was no like, hey, we're good, right? Like there isn't any of that. And when you can't feasibly be expected to really look at the risk of an income and credit profile of a borrower when there's nothing there. Not only that, but you're not getting any help from anybody else. You're not getting help from the government. You're definitely not getting help from the states as far as guidance. Right. So I'm glad that you brought that up so people, could really understand that. Now,
and just
go ahead,
if I could add something,
yeah.
Jason, just, that we just have always had a responsibility to our capital partners because we knew when we started this back in 2013, we have had to bring this back responsibly. Yes. So every single time we come out with a product and program, it's a responsible product that will perform because ultimately early on in this, people were thinking this was like subprime all over again. And we knew that if there were loan performance issues, that the market would not be there to support it. And so that's why this kind of all happened industry-wide and happened so quickly.
Yeah, no, and I think that's important too, because that, is, of course, just because, look, it's a while ago, but it's still fresh in a lot of people's memories, especially those in the industry, the financial letdown, or the meltdown. And of course, everyone's going to try to say, oh, well, this is like this and this is like that. We're really understanding like, hey, no, this has nothing to do with any of us in the financial industry. This is something that was just thrown at us. And again, no help or no safety net. And then again, you're still dealing with that. Again, glad, and those are important points that I think people need to understand. Now, staying within the present, obviously that's, we kind of figured out what's happened, where we are. And now, now we're seeing non-QM come back. And by come back, I mean, like, you're starting to see people talk about it. You're starting to see programs come out again, and more players, that were trying to figure out, how things were going to go, how the states were going to, open back up and all that other stuff. So what is the state of non-QM right now, as let's just say today? Like, what does that look like today in the market?
Well, I think how I like to think about it, it's very similar to what the state of our economy is in. Mm-hmm. Our economy is kind of starting to trickle back, and it varies greatly by state, right? We're seeing different states open up and other states say, no, we're staying closed for longer, and, don't know exactly when. I'd say that's kind of how non-QM looks like today. There are products and programs out there, but they're not what they were 2 months ago, 3 months ago, but they still are available, and there's still now a market. So they haven't been shelved completely. Now, when every single state was shut down, non-QM was on a pause. Like it had to be, right? There was no way when it was, no matter what state you were in, businesses were shut down. And if you really kind of peel back the onion and think about it, non-QM was one of our top clients we were taking care of were the self-employed borrowers with those bank statement loan. So we all know, even now looking at it, self-employed borrowers have been hit extremely hard by this shutdown. So as these businesses start to come back online, and as revenue starts to come and everybody starts to get back to work, so will non-QM. And again, it's here today. We're closing non-QM loans, looking at them every single day, and it just varies greatly by market, depending on what that market is allowed to do, or what stage they are in.
Yeah. And, that, and again, that just also speaks to the importance of, look, I think the industry, housing in general, has always been a crucial pillar of our economy. And I think when you take a step back and looking at recovery, housing, again, will play a huge role in that. Mm-hmm. And I think with non-QM being just absolutely crucial to the self-employed. And look, we're a nation of entrepreneurs, and businesses. Again, going back to your point about not fitting into that tight agency and government lending box, you got to have a source for that. So I think, obviously opening back up, getting back to work, that's important to non-QM. But I think even more important is that the role of non-QM will also play a huge role and be critical to how our economy recovers. Would you agree with that?
Without a doubt. I mean, again, that's really kind of why we started this up and got into this space 7 years ago, is that we knew the borrowers were out there. They just didn't know that they had an option. So we worked hard over the years and made people aware that there are options. And that's really where we were seeing that growth from. And we don't believe that the borrowers have gone away. They were just on a lockdown, right? Yeah. And as the whole country was. But again, businesses are starting to reopen. The economy is getting started again, and non-QM is right there, right along, with the economy.
As we look, and thank you for that. That was a great recap of the present, what happened and where we are. And just so people may not know that non-QM, there are products available, but I hope, just like with everyone, just as on the lender side, forget non-QM. You're like, okay, well, when does the 580 come back? Because right now I'm only dealing with like 640, 660, or 700. Still, the credit package is pretty tight on a lot of lenders. So, speaking of the non-QM, where do you see, and obviously a lot of stuff could happen, and it isn't anything. But as a leader in the industry, where do you see non-QM over the next 90 to 120 days?
Well, we got some pretty exciting news. Last week, Angel Oak Capital, one of our affiliated companies that securitizes the loans that we originate, they issued a securitization last week, and it was oversubscribed, and it went really, really well. So, and these were pre-COVID-19 originations.
Oh,
so that just tells us that the appetite in the market from an investor standpoint has not waned based on that. So that was really good news for the entire market that securitization went through. There's going to be another one coming along here in the next few weeks at some point. So that's kind of the engine that drives non-agency, is that securitization model, and that's going to be back full-fledged. The only thing I really can't answer, Jason, is exactly when.
Yeah.
It's not. We know it's going to happen. I don't know if it's 30 days, 60 days. Not. That's the piece that's really hard to predict, because it kind of depends on what I've already said. It's the economy. If the economy gets back and everybody's able to get back to work, and we get back to life as we knew it in February of 2020, the non-QM will be right there ready to support those borrowers who can qualify and they deserve a loan.
Gotcha. And then what is Angel Oak doing? I mean, I know we're talking about just non-QM in general and stuff, but focusing a little bit more on Angel Oak, as you guys are doing what you're doing every single day, where is Angel Oak's focus right now? Like what are you preparing for? What are you guys really focusing on right now?
Well, so we are non-QM. That is our focus. That is, we actually offer an agency loan now, but that was just really, we saw the kind of the dislocation that happened immediately. Like you were talking about, even agency loans were getting sideways and backed up. And I know the volume based on the refinance, the capacity was strained. So we have an agency offering, but we are a non-QM lender first and foremost. And that's what we're going to be. And that's what we'll always be going forward. So we're just focused on getting products out there that work in today's economy. The exciting part to me and to really all of us around here is that things are getting better every single day. There's more good news around the virus. Yeah. There's more good news around the economy. So as that news continues to get better, so will non-QM, and so will the products and programs that we're able to put out in the market.
Yeah, and I think for those of us in the industry watching, it's good. It's really good to see, because at the end of the day, Angel Oak was one of those companies that were first to bring these products to the market. And not only that, but you were, I think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you were the largest, or are the largest non-QM lender in the country. And so from an industry, it's good to see that, right? Like nobody wants to see, and again, when everything was going down, everyone just didn't know what to do. But it's good to see, you don't want to see that go away, right? Now, you don't ever want to see a company that, is the standard to be gone. And so I think and when I'm saying all of this, just to say from an industry perspective, it's great to see that front and center, right? To have this conversation, to see you talk about it. Not only that, but to see that you have faith in not just non-QM, but how the industry is going to respond. And also, like we just talked about, that it's going to be a crucial part of the recovery, especially with the non-QM. And look, some industries aren't coming back. And so what are those people going to do? Are they going to go out and start their own businesses? Is the government going to have plans, or states have plans to help invest in these small businesses, get them back on their feet? But then is this going to give birth to another group of entrepreneurs? How are industries going to change? And then again, housing being an important pillar, it's just even more important that we have that and have someone that could service that clientele, because it's needed. It's going to be part of that recovery. So for me, I, for one, am excited to see that. I'm excited to see that, hey, look, it did nothing, because look, I'm telling you right now, as it's just like a dinosaur, right? You see someone else go down, you're like, okay, well, like we're not really that different. So like,
what's next?
Next? What's next? We won't talk about the murder hornets and everything else, but like that's it seemed like one hit after another. So it's good to see that you guys are back front and center, that there are products available today, but not only that, but you guys are working hard to to build upon that, see how things go. And then, just like you were first in the market before, I know you guys will be first to put these out, again. So just very happy to see that just as an industry professional.
Very much appreciate it, Jason. I think you started off saying there have been a lot of loan officers that had learned to use non-QM, and that's really what we saw in 2018 and 2019 was loan officers. It was not necessarily their key business, but it was nice for them to have more tools in their belt to help more borrowers. Make the American dream come true. So that's really where non-QM fits. It's never going to be a primary loan, Fannie and Freddie and FHA and VA. Those are going to be the big loans, but maybe non-QM is 10% of the market. It's a $200-300 billion a year business, and that's a pretty significant amount of business. And I believe we're going to reach those same numbers that we were projecting. We've just had, I think you referred to it earlier, a little bump in the road.
Yep.
That's really what we see this as, because the need in the market as a percent to the market is always going to be there.
Absolutely. And, I want to, we're running up on time, so I definitely want to be respectful of your time today. As an industry leader, someone that has a ton of not just experience, but expertise in this industry, how are you looking at the market, just in general, the mortgage market, not necessarily related to non-QM, but how are you looking at the market? How are you seeing that progressing over the rest of the year? That's really, it's interesting because there's just a lot of strain in a lot of different areas. Now we're hearing that home values aren't going down, but the supply, which we've known for how many years, the supply has been low. Yeah.
Well, now it's even lower. So,
exactly. Yeah.
It's just a lot of these dynamics. Again, it's changing so quickly that it's really hard to say, what it looked like even 3 weeks ago. It's a lot different now. But, I'm optimistic. I really believe that we as Americans are going to continue to, come together and actually open this economy back up. We had, kind of a roaring economy going for a very long time. And I believe we're going to get there sooner than later. So I'm very optimistic. Real estate, as we've always known, is a big driver of the entire economy. So, it's great to see the mortgage companies that were, rumored as being strained, even in the agency space. And then the whole servicing issue that was coming out with forbearance. And, it looks like we're all going to get through this. And that's exciting to me that at the end of the day, the mortgage business is going to be left standing, helping deserving borrowers become homeowners, which is a great thing, which is, that's really why we're all in this business to start with.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think everyone that's out there, look, be patient, right? We're coming back. It's going to take time. Realize that within a matter of a month, really, if you're going to look back at about a month, we've wiped out a decade worth of gains in the economy, gains in employment, gains, and pretty much anything that you could think of within a few weeks. And that isn't something that you just quickly bounce back from. So it's going to take time. But I think I'm comforted knowing that it's happening quicker than what I thought. And I'm glad to see that. I'm glad I think you hit it right on the head, understanding that, look, housing prices, this, we have a good road to recovery, and we have, I think, the right players to do that. And before I let you go, we were remiss without letting you, if someone's interested in Angel Oak, understanding your programs, products, how's the best way for a loan officer to get in touch and figure that out?
Oh, yeah, that's great. Thank you, Jason. It's just angeloakms.com, Angel Oak Mortgage Solutions. So it's angeloakms.com. We've got a map on there. You can find the AE that services your area. And our products and programs are right there. Very, very great website. We have some tools. Even you can just answer a few questions and see what kind of loan a borrower that you're talking to might qualify for. So that'd be great. angeloakms.com.
Awesome. Well, Tom, again, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join me on the Mortgage X podcast and the Mortgage X Mastermind Live to talk about non-QM. Again, it was a subject that never really went away. It was just more of win, win, win. And so now I think we got a little bit of a roadmap on when that's going to happen and how it's going to happen. Again, be patient, everyone out there. It's going to take time, but it will get there. And so Tom Hutchins, EVP of Production at Angel Oak Mortgage Solutions. Tom, again, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
Good times ahead, Jason. Thanks very much.
Absolutely. And for everyone here on the live, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join me and Tom to talk about non-QM past, present, and future. For those watching the replay on YouTube, thank you so much. And LinkedIn, same with you. And on the podcast, thank you for tuning in. We really, really appreciate it. And as always, we hope you have an amazing day. Take care.